Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Camppatton Family Compound. It is time for Friday night on the Homestead, and well, tonight's topic is garden items to salvage first in T.E.O.T.W.A.W.K.I, which is the end of the world as we know it. Let me get up here, and yes, I'm all messed up and everything's screwed up here, so hang on a second here. Let me fix something here back up again. Yeah, things are just really bad here. Okay, hey, now I'm not blinding everybody with the lack of hair. Actually, I need to turn that other light on too. Things just went totally sideways here. The one monitor here died at 5 minutes up, so I'm out there just. I had to go steal the TV I used for the grandkids, bring it in here, set it up in here. Yeah, it's just things going weird. So let me go over here to say hi to everybody. All righty. So first one in was Phelan Klein Wolf, then Chef Tech, then Chipper 66, Mother Earth Garden Club, Diana 2, Kaylin Strain, Geeky Gardens. Did I say Mother? Yeah, I did Mother Garden Club. Tammy Harder's here. Mad Chick Acres is in here as well. Sue Me is here. Walt Rogers is here. Shady Hill Homestead, Angels Homestead. I think I said hi to everybody. If I missed somebody, I'm sorry. Yeah, I chased the grandkids out of here about half an hour ago, and came in here, and it's like all of a sudden I had everything all set up. Came in here, the one monitor over here was pitch black. What the heck? And I couldn't get anything to come up on it, and it had evidently tweaked out and threw everything that was on it over to the main one here, and it was hidden behind the StreamYard window. And yeah, so I had to go steal the TV from the grandkids and bring it in here and set it up here. What a friggin' nightmare. So I'm going to be playing afterwards. I'm going to be playing around the monitor, see if I get to come back in. It did that once before, but all I needed to do is turn it back on. It came right back up. It wouldn't, quote, come on, but it was being recognized by the computer as being there. So yeah, something wrong with it. It may have just lost its chip or whatever that activates the screen. So I got to do some research on that. All right. Some vitamin water. Actually, I'll probably just have to head up to Walmart, up to Wally World there, and get another one of these 28-inch monitors that are on super sale that they're getting rid of. They didn't sell over Christmas. Get one of those. Or make a little bit bigger one and swap these around and have fun with it. All righty. So let's get it back over to this here. Today's topic. Oh, and the reason I got these up here because these guys have their own type of garden tools, but we're not talking about the type of garden tools that these guys are using. So let me go ahead and get rid of those guys and bring back up the garden. All righty. So over here. Hopefully, we will not ever have to worry about the topic tonight. But as was pointed out in a meeting last night I was at, when the engineers over in Japan were designing the Fukushima nuclear power plant, they looked all over the place where to put it. They didn't say, "Oh, let's just throw it down here." No, they did all the research, and they had all these backup plans and everything else. The one thing they didn't think about happened, and that was an earthquake offshore enough that caused a tsunami to come in and flood the facility. because they thought they had put the backup generators in a nice safe place in the basement where it was protected from the weather and everything else. They hadn't considered the facility being flooded by a tsunami. So hopefully we will never have to do this. And but just in case, we're putting our generator up on the roof instead of down in the basement, and we're planning for it just in case it happens. Now, to answer the thing is, actually, I think I screwed up on something here. Let me go back one page. Yeah, okay. The keyword on here is in yellow, first. Garden items you want to salvage first in T.E.O.T.W.A.K.I. Yes, Sumi, we want to salvage everything we can get, but we want to get hold of some things first so that they're around and we don't lose them to someone else, or just lose them to fire, or being trashed by people that don't know what they're good for, and just whatever. So let's go ahead and back in here. So hopefully we won't have to do this. And first thing when I say garden items, everybody looks and goes, oh, wheelbarrow full of garden tools. Yes, that is part of it. And Mother Earth, yes, seeds is another thing that, but if you're doing it right, you're stockpiled on seeds, and every time you grow something, you save those seeds as well. So your stockpile of seeds is getting bigger every year. And let's see here. All right, we're going to start off with some stuff here. Let me switch here. Go make that bigger. There we go. Can everybody name, or can anybody name all 8 shovels here? Can anybody name all 8 shovels? And why people think about that? Plastic barrels for putting water in. Yes, that's a good thing to grab. But you got to make sure they are chemical-free ones. Once they may have had the soap in it for they use in restaurants for their commercial washer or whatever else. All right, so here it is. Shovel number 1 is a long-handled trench shovel for digging a narrow trench. Number 2 is a sod shovel, and its blade goes straight flat, doesn't curl up on the end like number 4 does. It's flat across. It's for cutting sod and working that. Number 3 is a round nose shovel. Number 4 is the square nose, and it has the square nose on it, but it has curled up on the end for if you're on a driveway where they've dumped out rock or compost or something, you can shovel it up and it scoops everything in as you go, so you don't lose stuff falling off the sides. Number 5 is a short-handled, D-handle trench shovel. So all 4, 5, and 6 are short-handled, D-handled shovels of the same type the first ones are. Why do you want to have some short-handled ones? Sometimes you're in a confined space. Sometimes it's just easier to work a short-handle shovel for doing stuff with. I have probably now more short-handle shovels than I do long-handle shovels. I need to build back up my supply of long-handle shovels because my daughter borrowed a bunch. All righty, next one here. Hose, and no, I'm not talking about the ones down on the corner of 5th and Main. Hey, Rick, how's it going? So these type of hose go in the garden, and each one has a specifically different function, although a couple of them here look like they're the same, but now these are besides the normal ones you see at Ace Hardware, Home Depot, Lowe's, the little ones with the small little wire rod coming out the end and hammered into the little small 4-inch or maybe sometimes 5-inch wide little short hoe. The pointed hoe is designed specifically for doing like trenches or irrigation trenches, and work around your rows of crops and stuff. The center top, called the grape hoe, is a big wide hoe. I also have seen those called mortar hoes for mixing mortar and concrete. They're big and wide, and they're heavy duty, and they're great for that. The one over here on the far right is sort of like what people are trying to think of as a Maddox without the axe on it. It's got the flat blade on it. The blade is curved. It's I've seen them where they are concaved or convex on the blade on the end of it, and each one has a little bit different purpose on it. Rebel Canners is in the house listening. Cool, thanks for checking in. This one on the end here, I forget the exact name of it is, but it is used for basically breaking fresh ground type hoeing. All right, the fork hoe on here is well, when you want to turn up the soil a little bit, mix it up, turn stuff in, fork things over. Yes, I know that sounds rather you'd have Beefs and Butthead left. He said fork it over. All right, the one in the middle bottom is a hula hoe or a stirrup hoe. Cuts going both ways, and that usually is on the surface or the top half-inch of the soil to cut weeds off with. Bottom right is a 4-inch and a 6-inch version. These, unlike the grape hoe there in the top center, which has a curve to it, these are straight and flat, and they're used for working, soil that is, what's the word I'm looking for? A little more difficult to work than what you use the grape hoe on. And so these different type of hoes, if you don't have mechanical stuff on it, like rototillers and the some people have the rototill that has come on, I forget the attachment on the. Basically, it spreads the soil off to the side, mounts it up on the sides as you go through, and stuff like that. So it's just one of those things you can do that on. All right, other ones here. All right, smaller tools, and you got the top one is a cultivator, a 3-prong cultivator. You got your little type of leaf rake. You got your garden trowel. You have your multi-tool, which has a little hoe on it, and the fork hoe on the other side. You have a little rigid rake, and then you got I forget what this one's called. Basically, it's got 2 sharp edges on it for getting in there, cutting bigger weeds down that got away from you, and hooking them and pulling them out and stuff like that. I saw a cool video on that, and I went looking for it to try to put this up there. I can't remember what the video called it, but yeah, these are pretty cool tools. Now we go back to the wooden handled ones again. So okay, on the left here, you got one that has a sharpened V in it for getting in there and cutting things. The backside is sharpened too. The next one over here with this kind of curved blade on it. Dang, my grandmother had one of those, and my grandmother had one of these, and I never used it, but she used it somewhat. It's got sharp edges on it, so it's getting in there and cutting weeds and also cutting dirt and moving stuff. The next one over is one of the little forks on it for going down, like digging up dandelions or star thistle, where you're trying to get a root that's down a bit. You want to pop that root off and keep it from doing anything. Then you got yourself a little mini shovel, or a mini spade. Then you got this other cultivator with two big, vampire teeth on it there. This next one, which you really can't see much on, the second to the last one here, that is kind of similar to the second one I went over, but it's set flat, and it's so the blade sits flat on the bottom side. There's no bevel on it. The sharpness is beveled off the top, and you just put that down on the soil, and you slide it so you're not digging into the soil, and you just take weeds and stuff off right at the surface of the soil. Sort of what the hula hoe was, or stirrup hoe was based on. This came first. This is old school. And then again, you have your I just had it here, pointed hoe, yeah, or trench hoe there as well. And these are short handle ones. They have much longer handle as well for these as well, for using them. Yeah, I thought I was like, that looks more like a fighting tool from Mad Max. About a three fork and a 5 fork. Cool, excellent. All right, next one here. Rakes. There are so many friggin' different types of rakes, and each one has a specific job. The common rake we see, where it's got the bent rod going around to the thing, your common garden rake, sometimes called a grass rake. Then you have a thatch rake, which has sharper edges going down in for cutting the thatches in your lawn and stuff, and cutting up the runners and stuff. And my grandmother used to use that out in the garden when runners from the grass on the side would start running in, and she'd cut it up, break it all up, and get it so she could rake it out easier. Then you got your plastic leaf rake, your metal leaf rake, your small plastic shrub rake. My wife has a metal version of that was my mom's. And here you got just an assortment of heads here to look at of all the different types here. Number 322 is the turf rake. 104 is the heavy-duty monster one that landscapers use quite a bit when they're doing landscaping, because it's a lot stronger. You can dig rocks out with the 104 there a lot easier you can the others without damaging them. It also generally takes a bigger handle because it takes more brute force to use it and stuff. So let's see here. This one is a council fire rake, and the V's there are sharpened, and it's for going in there and building a fire line. But it works great in starting out a new garden where you got a bunch of shrub and stuff you want to get out of there, and you just go in there, you start chopping and beating with it, and that is a heavy duty handle on that one. This has many names. When I was growing up, you could only get this at a contractor supply, and it's called a asphalt rake. But the landscapers saw the asphalt guys out there using it, and they go, "That's cool. Where do you get it?" And they started buying it and ordering it, and a bunch of them, and it started spreading through the landscape industry, and they started calling it a landscape rake or a rock rake. And I've done several videos where I used my asphalt rake out here when I was doing leveling the area for the new back patio. I was using that for moving the rock around and leveling. Same thing for the driveway. I was using it out there. So I got videos on that, doing that there. I don't think I did any videos of me using it in the garden, leveling the garden out, but I was using it to level the garden out. This is great. And when you want to set up you're adding a significant area to your garden, and you want to make sure you got it partially leveled and stuff. Or is on the top of it here, put a shelf bracket on there and use hose clamps to hold it in place. Tie a rope to the top part of it. And so this part goes on the handle, and this part's up against above the tines. We tie a rope up here so someone in front of it could be pulling on it while you're pushing a large amount of dirt and just like a dozer or a motor grader and just leveling the area out. Yeah, that's what a lot of them were using it for laying sod, doing new soil prep for landscapers. And and spreading the decorative gravel, pea gravel, lava rock around in the beds and stuff. This is another lawn tool that has some gardeners are using, and this is a lawn leveling tool where you, after the lawn's been in for a year, you get soft spots, raining, the kids running out there, and you get ruts putting in. You can bring in sand or very fine topsoil and use this raking back and forth and work it down into level the thing out. It also works for leveling out a freshly rotor-tilled area as well. That's not, when you rotor-till, especially if you're having to back up and stuff, it's not always nice and smooth. And if you're using a walk-behind rotor-tiller, you're walking where you just rotor-tilled. Let's see here. This is a smaller version one because sometimes you have to, after you do the stuff between the rows, you want to get level it back out again so you don't have tripping hazards or anything else, and it's nice and easy to weed. You get it leveled up all out beforehand. Now we get to the forked, where we can say fork you. All sorts of different forks and stuff. The one in the middle is the heaviest duty of all of them, and that's usually you see that listed as a potato fork. The others are generally listed as garden forks. The other two on the far ends, the ones with the red and down to the tines. The one on the left here is your standard pitchfork, and the other one is a multi-tine pitchfork for generally used for cleaning out stalls, horse stalls, cow stalls, cow feeding areas and stuff like that, where you're doing that. And the 4 or 5 tine one is used for pitching hay into a wagon, out of a wagon, into a loft, down, into a wheelbarrow, out of the wheelbarrow, into feeding the hay to the animals and stuff like that. Yeah, poop fork, mucking fork, but it's got all sorts of names, but it's got a different name. I can't remember what it was specifically, but yeah, they and I wish I hadn't thrown away the one that we had years ago after my dad died, that the handle got broken on. And instead of going to replace the handle, we're never going to use this again. I wish I had it now. And we got rid of it because the handle was broken on it. It was 18 inches wide. They don't make them that wide anymore around here that I can find. And we used that a lot around the cow's manger area where they were would feed at. Sledgehammers, not to be confused with other types of hammers such as framing hammers, upholstery hammers, or anything, or smaller hammers and stuff like that. The one on the far left, that is a blacksmith's hammer. The other one's a blacksmith's mallet. Then you got all the different ones. Or the next one over, I can't remember the exact type. It's not a ball peen. It's not a rounded one, but it's similar, used by blacksmiths and iron workers. Then you got your standard sledgehammer that comes in everything from 6 pounds up to 20 pounds. And I got a 20-pounder. My son has a 16-pounder. We both have 8-pounders, and we didn't worry about getting a 6-pounder because we got 6-pounder in the short handle. You got yourself a framing hammer there. I'm not sure what the last 3 are for. It didn't say what they're for. I have never seen those 3 before. Although the last one does look kind of like one that they've used on the railroad tracks, but it's not quite like that. It's most of the ones on the railroad tracks look like a long pickaxe, only it's a hammer and it's used for driving the spikes in, and the other side's a little bit tapered, a little bit more for sticking where the bolt holes are to wiggle the track and line so they can bolt it together. Let's see here. Now I have roofing hammers, and the roofing hammers don't look anything like that. Roofing hammer looks like a hammer with a hatchet on it for a roofing hammer. Yes, and thank you, Kayla. And then there are small rubber mallets too, which work great when you want to hammer something in more delicate, like the wooden stakes and stuff you want plants to grow up on and stuff. You don't want to beat them too much, or the little spikes and stuff for the strings that you want to run up for, have stuff grow up on. Oh, now we're getting to some of the manual equipment stuff. Rubber nails. I've never seen a rubber nail before. Hey, Jeremy, Tennessee Tactical Ones in the house. All right, so here's a wheeled stirrup hoe in the upper left. Down on the right is a two-wheeled version of a Haas hoe that has all sorts of attachments. This has the cultivator tines on it, has all sorts of attachments going on it. And you got another Haas hoe stirrup hoe down here on the bottom left. Yeah. The bigger wheels I found have worked better than small wheels when you're out there in the garden, because if you get a rock up in front of the other one, it's going to jump on you more than the big wheels are. The big wheels kind of just roll over the little pebbles and stuff. The other one hits it or it stops against it. Yeah, they're very expensive, but they last for years. My grandmother had one from back in the 60s. When she passed away, my cousin, who was in landscaping, asked, anybody want it? We didn't ever see it. Had been sitting in her storage shed for at least a decade and unused, and everyone said, no, you can have it. And it wasn't until years later I found, oh man, that was one of the original Haas hoes. Oh man. Let's see here. And there are a bunch of different ones of these. This is a rather heavy duty version of a cedar. And what it does is it goes along. It's a chain drive, or some of them are gear drive. And it has a dispenser, depending on the mechanism you have in it, the interchangeable mechanism, it'll drop a seed out every so often. And they have different ones for different size seeds as well, from corn down to little peas and stuff. So, and even smaller, down to almost lettuce size stuff. But if we're doing your rows, after you got all cultivated, ready for it to go, and you just load it up, you just walk from one end to the other, and it digs a trench, puts the seed down in, and the trench height is variable. This one has the chain behind it that drags the loose soil back in over it, and then the rear wheel kind of tamps it down a little bit. So it works that way. Now this is one that most gardeners would not even think of having, and I saw a video on composting in the garden, and it had links to several other papers and stuff where they talk about that if you have you've disked everything up, you rototilled everything up, and you tilled in all the dead leftover vegetation from the previous year, it's not going to compost as fast loose as it is as you roll something over it to take a lot of the excess air out. Yes, it needs some air, but too much air stops the composting process. So having one of these, this is a plastic drum that you can fill with water. and you can put 5 gallons in it. You can put 20 gallons in it. And so you depend how much you need to really pack it down. You just push it along or pull it along. And some of these will actually hook up behind the rototiller. So as you rototill it, then it kind of packs it back down a little bit. Still not tight. It's still loose. You can still get in there. You can still run your seeder right through it. It'll part it and do it. But it gets the soil, the excess air out of the soil. But depending on how much weight you put on it, you'll keep some air in there to help the compost get the right amount of air and stuff for the bugs and everything else to get in there. And okay, reasons you want to go and get to salvage tools in a real SHTF or TEO.W.A.K.I situation. Basically, where governments failed, stores are everyone's closing up stores, everybody's heading for the hills, people are scrambling just to survive. There is basically practically no law and order, most likely no law and order for a while until things settle down. What you have will wear out or break, and you'll need more. Obviously one of the reasons for that. So you're going to need to get more. You're going to need to get whole tools. You're going to need to get handles, and that may be something to get a bunch of because you don't want to be out there trying to whittle a handle. And if you can get if you have all the tools you need right now, what you're going to go out is try to find a bunch of handles. Handles aren't cheap, and you're going to salvage handles. That's something that they might want to consider doing is getting those, because people see you just taking handles out. Oh, he needs firewood or something. They're not thinking garden. Repair tools to repair your garden tools. Wrench sets, steel files for sharpening or fixing the handles. Small sledgehammers like the 2 pound, 3 pound, or 4 pound hammers. If you have a shovel and you bent it or whatever, trying to get a rock out to expand your garden, and the tip of your shovel is bent over, and you just straighten it back out, having a couple of good hammers works great. You can take an 8 pound or larger sledgehammer, set it down on the ground, use it as the anvil, and the smaller 2 pound or 3 pound hammer, and use it to straighten out your hoe, your shovel tip, whatever it is. Other things that most people thought a garden item, not a tool, just a garden item, twine. If you're running twine up right now for your tomatoes to grow up on, your cantaloupe, your cucumbers, your peas, whatever, you're going to need more twine, because twine is not something that hardly anybody knows how to make. And so that might be something you might want to think about putting on your list. Okay, this is something I'm going to need to salvage. I missed Tammy's comment here. Going back to the roller. Yeah, they're good for breaking up ground lumps, chunks as well. You use the roller on it. Well, just like 5 gallons in it, that's 8 pounds or so, or 2 gallons in it. Then you get with the big wide rakes, and you use to fill in the low spots a little bit, and maybe run over it one more time to get it nice and smooth for in between the rows where you're going to be planting at. Mark, I'm not going to touch that, because I could get you in so much trouble by who you're calling a hoe. Now this is it. Now so far I've talked about non-powered stuff. I think that's the last guess. That looks like the last picture here. So let me go ahead and drop that down, and yeah, that was the last picture. So things to consider. How do I want to put this? You've seen the highway warning signs that they put up that has the arrow going, has the solar panels on top and the battery pack down below. that might be something to salvage for the garden. And you're probably saying, why would I salvage that for the garden? Well, if you don't have a small engine tiller, or you have one of those electric ones like I have, and you have a power source out there in the garden, like the traffic sign that, battery's all charged up, plug it in. You can do the light rotor till, cultivator tiller in an area to help your garden work go by quicker. And CB is here. Woohoo! So if you're planning on using electrical stuff in your garden in a real HSTF or a T.E.O.T.W.A.W.K.I situation, you're going to want some sort of power for those tools. And Jay's in the house. And I froze. So, like if you got battery powered hedge trimmers, blowers, and stuff like that, you need to charge up the batteries again. If you have one of these some sort of solar unit, or you salvage a solar unit from a construction site, or the highway department's storage facility yard, yeah, that might be something to you might want to think about salvaging in a real situation where there is no law and order. And put that in there. Oh, and Jay put one up there. Yes, postal digger. Makes it easier to dig a nice hole for if you've got a bunch of the. Okay, hang on. That just opened up a whole nother can of worms here. Other items to salvage is from the nursery. Fruit trees in the 1, 2, 5, 7, 10-gallon buckets. And yes, you're going to need a postal digger to dig the hole to put that bucket down into properly. All right, yeah. Thanks, Jay, for putting that in there. It reminded me. Salvaging plants, not seeds, plants from nurseries, particularly fruit trees. Very good. And you may want to salvage some other plants, such as pyracantha, roses, anything with big thorns on it. The plant start growing a living fence. Yep. Yep. So you'd head to Tractor Supply or other such place that carries either the hog wire fence panels or the cow panels, which are also great for making greenhouses out of. Okay. Yep. Yeah, that's the thing. You got to be careful about where you're going, where you're salvaging stuff to. And the thing is, though, if the people at the nursery that sell their garden stuff say, "Can I buy stuff? I got cash. I got coins." But that's you got to be careful about that. So you got metal fence posts, and I hate using sledgehammers on fence posts anymore. I want to get the steel pipe that has a big, heavy sledgehammer thing welded into it with the handles on it. Yeah, and drive it down in. Yeah, and you reuse those buckets after you plant the trees to plant stuff in, to start your garden early indoors in the garage, in the shop, in the house. That way you can get your tomatoes going really early and have them already a couple feet tall, and before you take them out there and stick them in the ground. And you still do the same thing with your cucumbers and different squash. They can be starting to grow, and you just go out there and you've picked up a month on everybody else for producing food. All right. Broad fork, okay. T-post, post drivers. Ron, how's it going? The Green Wizard is in the house. All right, other things to Steve's here. Steve, are you affected by smoke? Do you see cinders floating by? Are you under evacuation area? Can you give us an update on how you're doing? Well, Butch from Sand Hollow Homestead here in Idaho is in here. Sledgehammer can do more. Just drive. Yeah, I have sold. Like I said, Jay, you missed it. I have sledgehammers, everything from a 2-pounder, 3-pounder, 4-pounder. Then I jump up to, those are short handles. Then I jump up to the 8, 10, 12, 16, and 20-pound sledgehammers. Yeah, I can't swing this 20-pound sledgehammer like I could when I was working construction. But my son can. Yes, winterize your peppers. Yes, absolutely. You know, turn stuff into growing year round. If you're able to go to the and that's the thing too. If you're going to salvage from a nursery and the owners are there and kind of say, all right, make you a deal. I need to go plant some of these. You need someplace to have these planted. You give me froze. You give me some of the trees. Here's where I live. Here's my drain. And if you want to, I got a large lot or whatever. You can help me grow stuff over there, and it's pretty well, however you're secured over there, and that way we can get food grown from these trees that you're just guarding here that aren't in the ground. You work deals out. Become friends with your nursery people too. So something does go south, and it is a T.E.O.T.W.A.W.K.I situation, and you can get them do it. All right. Steve's update. We are good. Just north of the evac zone. Spent 2 days on generator power. Well, I'm glad you had the generator, Steve. Very good. Very good. And Glenn here. Glenn is here. Yeah, I showed a bunch of pictures last night on the midnight ride over on Gray Man Prepping, and brought up the Cal Fire map showing all the little fires, the big fires, what areas are burnt and stuff. Yeah, I haven't seen it that bad since back in the early, like 1970, maybe 71, but also 68, 69 down there. Yeah, when Firescope was developed. Concrete trowels can be used for working around plants. Yes, those pointed mortar trowels and stuff. Yes, those can work very good. That's the thing too. If you go to salvage at a nursery, and you know the people, and they're there, they may gift you things to say, hey, grow stuff here. Hopefully later on we will be able to set up a farmer's market here to get people saving seeds and stuff in the years to come. So work with the people in the industry too. Oh, he didn't put it in there. I was talking to somebody earlier, and he was going to put a comment in there. He didn't put it in there. So I'll say it here. One of the first things somebody I know is going to go out and salvage. They're going to salvage the local farmers. In other words, all right, what do you need? What can we do to help you? And are you hiring people for labor? As in pay for, food for labor. Yeah, metal 5 and plastic 5-gallon buckets. Best places for 5-gallon buckets are donut shops, pastry shops, bakeries, like at the grocery stores that have the bakeries where they bake the stuff, like Sam's Club and Costco, where they have the 5-gallon buckets of sugar frosting they do for the cinnamon rolls and stuff like that, because those are food grade buckets. Oh, Ron, excellent idea. Yes, cleaning up what we would call quarry waste to dust, which is like 1/8 inch size crunchings down the dust. That puts the minerals into your soil naturally for years to come. Yeah. Restaurants, yeah. Hang on, there we go. Yeah, they're gonna have to give FEMA a bunch more funds for them to do any help down there. And yeah, and that wind was supposed to be went, like you said, autocorrect. Especially if that's this calcium rich, yeah. They're going to pay for the, yeah. Oh, he's going to say they're going to pay for the cost of the firefighters, yeah. And like I mentioned last night, what's her name? Los Angeles' mayor that cut $17.5 million from the fire department's budget a couple months ago. Yeah. All right, so let's get back to this. Other thing, so think about, everything you're going to use for non-powered work in a garden, all the tools and stuff you're probably going to need. Oh, I forgot the other one. There's the one that's like a little cultivator. It's the offset rows of tines that, and you work it. That's another one I forgot to put in there. I got one. I don't use it that much because I have my little electric cultivator. But if I don't have power, I will be using that one. Oh, yeah, wheelbarrows. 2-wheel and 1-wheel wheelbarrows. They each have different functions. And the shallow wheelbarrows, those are great for harvesting. The little 1-wheel shallow wheelbarrow, great for harvesting. Garden weasel, yes, the garden weasel, the Ronco garden weasel. You need one of these now. I remember those commercials. Garden hoses, sprinkler drip lines, yeah, other stuff that so you can use your water sparingly and to its most effectiveness. Along with that, you may want to hit Salvage from Harbor Freight. You might find some stuff at Home Depot. The 12-volt water pumps, transfer pumps, to run your water from your 55-gallon barrels and stuff, or water totes if you've gotten those and you filled them up, to power the water going out to your garden. Well, like I said in the beginning, hopefully we'll never ever have to do this, but it's better to have a plan in place and be ready just in case. Yeah, chicken wire on raised planter beds. If your neighbors have a problem with gophers now and then, even if you have gophers in your front lawn and you're going to be tearing your front lawn out or your back lawn out to make a garden, when you put your raised planter beds like these in here, you want to dig down a little bit deeper, lay the chicken wire several layers in the bottom, and then start putting your dirt and your compost and everything in on that, your culture sticks and everything else to do it. So you keep the moles, the voles are even more destructive than the voles are, and the gophers out of your garden. Yeah. And going back to that, yes, FEMA, they're trying to get FEMA back to what it's supposed to be doing, to be a reimbursing agency for the states and counties. The states and counties spend the money, and then FEMA reimburses them. That was the original idea behind it, was to reimburse the agencies after they had done everything they could. Yeah, a lot of the no kink ones, you got to be. I found out you got to be very careful in handling them. Generally, I get the heavy duty ones that you can tell they ain't gonna kink, and I'll run them out to a distribution valve setup. That's something else to get one of those little valve things that's got it's like you screw it on the hose bib, and if you can put 4 more hoses on it. I put some of those out in the area out there where I can put shorter hoses on it, so I can use short hose to do the watering and not worry about kinking up a big hose. That's what I just ran the big hoses out, put those on it, and then ran the little hoses off that for watering around the pumpkins, the butternut squash, and the cantaloupe, which the friggin' rabbits came over and ate all the plants down. And then the squash, I used short hoses for that. That way they don't kink so much. But yeah, and along that, your spray nozzles and your watering wands. Something else to salvage is those watering wands. So you have it has the knob on the end. You turn it, and you get the mister, you get the fan spray, you get the soaker, you get the jet, you get the full flood, you get the different spray patterns on it. Those things are neat too. Yeah, half-inch fence, half-inch rebar. Yeah, if it's depending what you're using it for. 3/4 inch pipe or half-inch pipe actually works better than half-inch rebar. Plus, you can thread the pipe easy, and if you salvage pipe fittings, you can build top things on it, do all sorts of cool things with it too, in the garden and around the garden. The 2 cats across the street my daughter has will bring voles up and drop them at the back door. When they had the Australian shepherd there before, my idiot son-in-law said, "Oh, we need to get rid of him because he didn't want to spend time playing with him at all. We're training him." But the dog is supposed to be trained automatically. He's supposed to know what they're supposed to do, idiot. But he would go out with the cats and hunt voles and field mice. All right, I think I covered everything here pretty good, giving you ideas. Guys, keep thinking out of the box. Think of everything else that you could possibly use in the garden. If you see a gardening channel, they're using something unusual, hey, idea there. The other thing too, if you got a cow ranch or a tractor supply near you, and we go into a full-blown real T.E.O.T.W.A.W.K.I situation where everything's not, and you're going there. If they have the rabbits, the chickens, and stuff there, something else to salvage too. All right, so coming up here, let me get over here and get this set up here. All right, so tomorrow on Gray Man Prepping is sanitation issues before and after disasters. Monday back here on Camppatton Family Compound is we're going to talk about the cooking library. What do you have in your cooking library? What books should you have in there? Not me. My son-in-law is the poor provider for them. Okay. All right. So cooking library on Monday. Back over on Gray Man Prepping on Tuesday is how much power do you really need? All right, and we're going to talk about how you can figure out how much power you're using, how much power you need, how much power you can eliminate by eliminating the energy vampires, including, I got one here. Shoot, what happened to it? I know I have one here somewhere. Hang on, what happened to it? Dang it. Ah, there it is. Which includes installing something like this. And we'll talk more about this on Tuesday on stuff like that usually uses power all the time. You just turn it off. Okay. Midnight ride on Thursday. And here, next Friday here is probably, I should have done it last Friday. Snow removal and other winter chores for those of you who are getting snow for the first time in years. Yeah, so we're talking about snow removal and other chores, way to make it easier, things to the good and bad about doing things, and how sometimes you don't want to use a snow blower. You want exercise in the wintertime. You want exercise. So that's coming up next Friday here. All right, let's see. Yeah, and that's saying beforehand now, you can start stocking up on some of these tools and stuff at a reasonable price, garage sales and stuff like that. Okay. All right, let's see. Anything else last? I'm looking at the comments coming in here. Yeah. Good snowman and stuff too. And Kaylin said thrift stores. Yep, very good point. One of the things about the snow, some areas are getting totally different snow because I know farther west of us, they got wet snow. We got dry snow because most of the heavy moisture came out of the air. So we got the light stuff here. And with the light stuff, we wound up with 8 inches, whereas they've been heavy, would have been down more along 5 inches or 4 inches. Garage sales, peddlers fairs, flea markets, estate sales, yeah. Used garden tools at estate sales are being sold not because they're bad, it's because the person's no longer around. They don't, family has their own, they don't want extra ones, and they just practically give those away. Oh, thanks. Yeah, and I know I'll bring it up on one of the other lives either on next Friday about it if you come up with it. But yeah, there is some stuff that I've gotten from I put it out around on the lawn around the poplar and pine trees to chase the voles off. It's non-toxic, safe for kids, safe for animals and pets. It just annoys the heck out of the voles and moles and gophers, and chases them off. I did a vid. I talked about it in other videos. And I actually think on one of my unboxings, I showed the big bags. I get the big 25-pound bags because it's cheaper. I get it off Amazon. It's cheaper than buying it at Home Depot or Lowe's. But yeah. All right, everyone. I'm going to get out of here now. Let you guys get off the rest of your evening. And remember, make a list and look for stuff that you can get now when you get it on sale at someplace else. All right. All right. Not Die to Earth. No, it was something else. All right, everybody. See you around.